Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. Well, it's that time again where we delve into the realm of potential. Yes, time for more monthly colour readings. I hope you've been enjoying the ones that I have been presenting so far, and I'd be very curious to find out just how it is that you managed with the colour changes that you may have chosen for yourself. I, this month, had the colours blue and yellow, and I certainly had some surprises, which is what those colours tend to suggest. The most surprising thing, of course, was that even though I am a lucid dreamer, and still dreamt throughout the entire month, I couldn't remember any of them, which is really quite interesting because yellow is a colour of remembering things. So obviously it was an issue that I needed to deal with. But before we get started today, I'd really like to welcome those of you who are new subscribers to this channel. It's always pleasant to find that there are people who are starting to find an interest in the sorts of things that I talk about. Maybe it's not so much these monthly readings, maybe it's more to do with the films that I analyse, but whatever it is, if I can explore with you the world of colour as I see it, then maybe you too will find an interest in something that you didn't know that you were interested in. For those of you who are regular viewers, thank you from the bottom of my heart for attending, and really, I think it's time that you might like to make some comments. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's happening to you. Let me know how these readings resonate for you. And that way I can be guided into giving more informed opinions of the colours as they turn out. If you're new here, then of course you are also very, very welcome. And I hope you find something here that is of benefit to you. All right, well, this month I've decided to take the oracle called The Treasures of Tikashi. Now, I don't have a box for these anymore. These have been with me for almost as long as my tarot cards and much, much longer than my colour cards. So the box is long gone, but it has some very wonderful messages for people. And I hope that the message that comes out for you resonates with what you are experiencing in your life in the here and now. All right then, well, let's get started. Let's now take a treasure from Tikashi and see what he offers us in terms of what May birthdays are likely to experience in October. Pop that one in under there. And now I want a colour reading for people born in the month of May to see how their October is likely to develop. All right, we begin the month with blue on pink, and then we move on to red on green, and then onto brown on red, and the underlying energy is brown on white. Well, we have two colours that are repeated here. We have red that appears as the action in the middle of the month, and also as the underlying need or drive towards the end of the month. And we also have brown as the action at the end of the month, and also as the action that is indicated through the underlying energy that impinges upon everything throughout the month of October. Let's have a look at this in more detail. Let's move that away. Brown on white. White internally is a state of awareness, of enlightenment, and it is a need or drive for that. You need to have a look at everything because white contains all colors, so therefore it is everything, but it's also nothing because we can't tell which of the colors it is, if any. So here we have a need for some form of enlightenment, a need for a flash of inspiration, if you like. And that need of flash of inspiration has then works its way into the real world as a goal, a new opportunity for creating an ambition that will lead you somewhere different to where you were before. So we have an opportunity here that lasts throughout the entire month for developing skills, developing knowledge, practicing things, getting really down and dirty with everyday activities that will enable you to work towards a specific goal. Internally, it then feeds back into this need for more inspiration. It's like you've got lots and lots of things happening, but they're not really lighting your fire. Now, in the past, coming into the month, we've had blue over pink. Pink is the feeling of vulnerability. It's got to do with needing attention. It has to do with wanting to be loved. It's need for assistance from others. But in the real world, you're the one that's had to do the work. That assistance hasn't been forthcoming. The love that you want hasn't been forthcoming. And so there is this continued feeling of vulnerability that in the real world basically comes down to look after yourself, because if you don't, nobody else is going to. And that's a difficult path to follow, because it also represents having done this over and over and over again. Every time there is a likelihood that things might go easily for you because people are enthusiastic and want to help and so forth. In the end, you're the one that's left holding the baby, if you like. This is nurturing the self. And that's what you come into the month doing. As you move further into the month, that pink darkens, flips over and becomes red. And now we have here in the real world this energy of getting out and doing things impulsively. And they're doing them impulsively because internally there is a drive towards something new, towards a change, towards freedom, towards wanting to try things that haven't been tried before. It's an experimental thing. And the green internally is a need that comes out of values that are very deeply held. You want things to be better, but in the real world, they often aren't. In the real world, you often have to fight for your freedom. And that's what this actually refers to, fighting for freedom. But when you fight for freedom, there are many different ways of doing this. If we take the red and green together and mix them up, we end up with brown. And brown is all about goal attainment. So here, there is a need also to attain goals, but to do so by finding something new and then acting towards obtaining that. Whether or not you do so safely is, of course, also an issue here, because red in the real world is always a stop sign. It means there is danger ahead. Whatever you are going to do to make these major changes to head off in a different direction may also cause you quite a bit of grief, and that includes potentially spilling blood. So don't be too impulsive. Don't just jump at every opportunity. There is a chance here that if you do so, those opportunities may not turn out to be exactly what you want, and they certainly may not be the goals that you are looking to chase. As we move further into the month, that's the whole idea here of the goals being separated out into opportunities and activities suddenly becomes part of what is now in the real world. It's not just down here, it's also up here. And the red has gone internally. There is a frustration. There is a need now to get on with doing something, anything. And in the real world, it's like you're an apprentice, back to having to learn a new task, develop new goals and aims and ambitions and even wishes, if that's the case. And in learning those new skills, get down and practical and develop them so that you are step by step moving towards where you need to go. But internally, there is a huge amount of frustration about this. You want it to happen rapidly, and things just don't happen rapidly when you have long-term goals. You have to learn patience, but there's no patience here at all. The patience was all back here when you are nurturing the child. You were there busy looking after yourself, and that was fine. But now you've got to the stage where looking after yourself is not satisfying anymore. Instead, you want to use up all of that pent-up energy that you've got, and in the real world, you want to do something solid with it. So how does the underlying energy impinge upon all of this? Well, for a start, if we take the blue as the action and the white as the underlying driver, then what we have here is a way of changing your perspective about things, because internally you've had a flash of enlightenment and externally you are being forced into doing things in a particular way, and probably it's the way that things have always been done. So no matter how much you may have considered that there are alternatives in the real world, it's back to what blue really represents, which is shut up, get on with the job, do as you're told, and don't complain. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in, which is no wonder why you become so frustrated towards the end of the month. On the other hand, we have the brown over pink. Now, pink is vulnerability, as we know. It has to do with needing assistance, being able to accept assistance, wanting to be loved. In the real world, you're working hard on that. You're working towards doing the sorts of things that will have people flocking to your door, if you like. If you, for example, are creating some sort of new career path where you've just stepped into that new role, you want people to like you. You want people to cooperate with you. And so you show them just what skills and talents you have in order to make them appreciate you better. So while the blue on white requires an entirely different way of looking at things, the brown on pink requires you to do something entirely different. So one of them is imaginative, one of them has to do with thinking, and the other one has to do with doing, with actions. By the middle of the month, we have red over white. Now, red on white is the spilling of blood over nothing. And this, again, can be an extremely uncomfortable situation. You have had a sense of enlightenment. In the real world, there is this sudden urge of energy, a sudden surge that makes you go out and do something impulsively. But eventually, all of that energy is dissipated and you are left internally with no fulfillment at all. This is exhaustion. And it happens because you've been working so hard that you haven't actually given yourself time out, which is what a baby needs. A baby needs to rest, and pink is the baby after all. So nurturing the child within, here you've exhausted the child. There's no nurture left. You are absolutely devoid of any energy. On the other hand, the brown on green gives us a different reading again, but it also explains why the energy is gone, because green is about the need to look for opportunities, the need for freedom, for getting onto a new path. In the real world, there's been a lot of work involved in that, not the sort of regular work that you're doing here, the organization and duty-bound stuff that comes with blue. This is ambitious work. You've seen an opportunity, you've jumped on it, you've worked really, really hard to make that into something, and it has exhausted you. by the end of the month, we end up with something slightly different again. We still have the brown and red, but this time they are inverted. Instead of the red being in the real world and sending energy outwards, now the red is in the internal world. Now you are gathering together all of the energy that you want. And what are you doing with it? Well, in the real world, you're creating goals and working towards them, which is exactly what you're doing here. Brown on red, brown on red. There is no actual difference in this when we look at the underlying energy that involves brown. On the other hand, you also have brown on white, brown on white. The same color combination occurs in each of these. So we now have to look at how do we do this differently? Well, brown and brown together is the ultimate in being able to develop some sort of wish fulfillment. You have the ambitions, you've got the goals, you've got the wishes, you've got the wherewithal to go ahead and do what needs to be done. But red and white together give us the same problem that we have here, red and white. There is a sense of being exhausted. And red and white, of course, form pink. Pink is vulnerability. Now, vulnerability isn't something to be ashamed of. Sometimes it is necessary to ask for help. And by the end of the month, if you want to obtain the goals that you have set yourself, then asking for help might exactly be what you need to do in order to proceed further. So let's have a look at what is missing to see if we've got any further information available to us. Well, there's no black, but you do have white. You have red. There's no yellow. You have green. You have blue. There's brown. There's no orange. There is no grey. No purple. But you do have pink. And there's no cyan. So these 6 colours here are the skills represented that will give you what you need to know, what you are going to be doing and experiencing throughout the month of October. What is missing are these 6 colours, and it is these colours that are important in determining how well you will be able to go through that journey. Black is about withdrawal. It's about time out and getting in touch with your inner self so that you are able to find out from deep within yourself what you need to know. Yellow is searching your own memory banks. This is all about memory. It's about learning, and it's about getting new information in and digesting it and making sense of it and storing it effectively. Orange is about being able to survive crises. It's having courage and confidence to move ahead. Grey is about dealing with uncertainty and confusion and also finding a middle road between the extremes that face some of the problems that we put into our lives. Purple is all about change. It's about constructive change, and it's about destructive change, and it's about fixing the things that go wrong. And cyan is the colour associated with peace and harmony and contentment, but it's also considered to be part of boredom and stagnation. So it too offers the opportunity to stop and take a breather. So of those 6 colours, choose the one that is most appealing and then the one that is least appealing and add those into your repertoire. And when you do so, instead of having 6 sets of skills, you now have 8 sets of skills with which to navigate the month of October. And hopefully that will help you move in a different direction. So let's now have a look at what Tikashi has to say. Creativity. You are the creator of your universe. You can create or manifest anything. Do not limit what you think you can do. You can do anything. Without judgments, you can lovingly acknowledge what you create, which will open the flow for greater creations. Be open to new ideas. Let your artistic expression flow. Allow your inspiration to guide you to new heights. Well, creativity is what brown is all about, and you have it in abundance, even as two separate colors here. I wonder what you'll do with it. Well, that was certainly an interesting reading. I hope it resonates with you throughout the month, and if it doesn't, come back in a week or so and see what it has to say then, because quite often we don't recognize all these general readings for ourselves immediately. It's only once we've gone through a few stages that we start to realize that, maybe that was what it was all about. Anyway, until next time, may the colors of your life bring you joy and happiness and all the things that you desire. Until I see you again, bye.